afternoon. Time is 12:07 p.m. Date is 3/17/20. And I call the meeting of District Board of Trustees to order. Mr. Montemayor, could you please call roll?
President Ricardo Rodriguez.
Present.
Judge Gilpin.
Present.
Juan Roberto Ramirez.
Present.
Ricardo Molina.
Here, present.
Alicia Oliveros.
Present.
Ramiro Vélez.
Present.
Javier Montemayor.
Thank you. This morning, can everyone please rise? Present for the pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence, please.
United States of America, to the republic for which it stands,
Nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas is under.
Thank you. The record show that a quorum of 4 members is present. The meeting has been duly called and the notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with Texas Open Meetings Act. Move on to agenda item number 3. We do have some public comments that were submitted in.
Public comment on email, and I believe we have 40 submitted, while we have to do it all.
Correct.
Do we read who they're from, sir? Or read the individual who sent it?
Yes.
This is from Aseneth Martinez. My son is a sophomore in Alexander High School. Due to the COVID-19, I would like to request that spring break be extended in order to minimize risk to students and staff. Cristina Flores. How is the district going to comply to the national request by the President of the United States to the 15-day self-quarantine? Alicia Canales, a quien corresponda, buenas tardes. Tengo 2 hijos en el distrito, uno en cuarto y el otro en 7º grado. Como padres estamos muy concertados con esta enfermedad. Estaríamos bien agradecidos si las vacaciones, que sabemos que no son vacaciones, se alargarán más. Habemos familias como nosotros que vivimos con una persona que está pasando por enfermedades muy difíciles y sus defensas están muy bajas. Como ustedes saben, para estas personas es muy fácil contagiarse de cualquier virus y cualquier enfermedad. Muchas gracias por considerar el bienes de nuestros hijos antes que nada. María Jiménez, good morning. Hopefully the break will be extended to all students and district employees. I also believe that they should not let the custodians and facilities workers go in as well. I am worried for my father's health, since a lot of older people are part of the facilities and custodial departments. Please consider extending it to everyone. Sonia Rocha. After careful consideration and lengthy discussion with my family, I will not be sending my son to school for an additional week or 2 after spring break. I'm just taking precautionary measures to ensure the safety of my family. If you have any questions, you can call me at the number below. Maria Banda. To whom it may concern, I am a former student from United ISD and assessing the situation. I believe it would be wise to move classes online. I understand that's moving over 40,000 students. Learning curriculum to online is difficult for a district. However, given the current situation and the uncertainty surrounding our future, it is best for our students to continue school online. This way would allow students to not fall behind a semester or even graduate so they can move on to college. Moreover, I understand that not all students have access to computers and or internet at home. However, a plan can be created to solve this problem. Just like other school districts, the districts can loan out laptops or Chromebooks to students who do not have access at home. A system would have to be created to ensure the safe return of said equipment, but I believe it can be done. Furthermore, as a previous student, I ask you to consider all the ways to address the situation. Schools don't only provide their students with an education, they provide a safe haven with 2 meals a day for those who need it the most. In other words, I encourage you to keep some of our school cafeterias open to provide children in need the meals they lack at home. Overall, I simply ask UISD to put children's safety first, but never forget education. I understand the difficulty of handling a worldwide pandemic is hard and appreciate all your efforts for keeping everything under control. Thank you and have a good day. Taffy Zoe, for our children's safety, please cancel to the end of the school year. It's clear it's no longer safe, and I know I share the same sentiments as fellow parents in our concern. I, for one, will not be sending my 4 children back, and they did not attend Thursday or Friday of last week as well. If you're concerned about losing money, you will be losing up a lot more if school resumes. From Jennifer Flores. Tomas Rodriguez, not in my backyard. Nothing hits close to home until it hits home. I'd rather be overly prepared than be underprepared. One more week, just in case. If one student infected first block and the teacher gets it, he or she could infect 100 students by 5th block. By 8 p.m., an additional 500 people could be infected, family members. This is a rough number, but I failed to mention, what if? What if the student rides a bus? 40 plus students. What if the student is in the band? 300 plus students. What if the student is a football player? 300 plus students. Teacher went to lunch with other teachers. 75 times 525 additional students. You don't need to tell me what could happen, but you know my concern. We know very little about social distancing, canceled athletics, canceling gatherings of 50 plus. I trust your decisions that you will take into consideration the custodians, secretarial staff, security officers, students, teachers, and administrators. Olga Rodriguez, please consider canceling classes for at least 1 more week. The safety of our children, faculty, and staff should be our utmost concern at this time. If one of us gets infected, we run the risk of infecting 100 people by the end of the school day and then infect another 300 by 8 o'clock at night. If we work together, this terrible moment could be our finest hour. Yahaira Hardrick, please consider all our kids' safety and postpone school. I will not be sending my daughter the weeks after spring break, not especially after one of your teachers tested positive, and who knows who else she passed it on to. Thank you for a concerned parent. Anaisa Velasquez, you should all shut down since the beginning. You put all the students in danger. As far as we know, this barely comes out to light, but who knows how long you have been keeping this a secret. All you worry about is the money. We worry about our kids. This is cruel from UISD. Close down the schools, make it your priority to have the students safe. Apparently, school isn't a safe zone anymore. Juliana Campos, in my opinion, school should be postponed at least until this passes. There's a lot of kids out of town this week. I know a couple that traveled to Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio for spring break. Our kids' safety is a priority. If this continues like this, sorry, but my daughters will not be attending school. Their health, to me, is a priority. Rosie Glassford, dear school board members, this is all you need to know and it hereby. Please make the right decision and choice for all of Laredo. And basically what they put is they copied the link for the White House guidance. Marta Valdez, I'd like to know why the city did not mention that this person was employed by the school district where so many children and adults work and go to school. How come this person was not quarantined at her home with her family during the time she felt sick, which she mentioned was she felt sick for 2 weeks? Why would she go to a public place at the Zapata County Fair if she knew she was waiting for results? Did she do this on purpose? I'm sure she knew the risk of leaving her home while waiting results. Will individuals be fined if they have the right virus and do not quarantine like other countries? Elizabeth Perez, to whom this may concern, it is not safe to have schools remained open. There are probably more cases here in Laredo that are yet to be discovered. As board members, I feel you do not put the students' nor teachers' best interests at hand. Schools will just cause the spread of this virus. It is important that you all realize UIZ is not above the state nor the federal government. Stop thinking about funds and test scores for once and do the right thing. As a taxpayer, parent, and educator, I am against continuing the school year till this virus has been contained. Rebecca de Leon, I am guessing you may have many parents panicking about the latest outbreak. I still can't rationalize why LISD and TAMIU will close down an extra week. If it is decided to follow the regular school calendar, as a UIZ parent, I back you up 110%. Many people I have encountered ask if UIZ is risking the following regular calendar with a COVID-19 panic. I tell them UIZ is being proactive versus reactive. How? Well, living in big cities and living through several pandemics and natural disasters, it has been proven that the entity with the most resources and emergency preparedness protocols in place should be the entity to lead. UIZ provides meals, implements cleanliness, monitors the general student-teacher health, and most importantly, at school, always has protocols. In my humble opinion, I reached this conclusion by running some numbers. As of 2017, the U.S. census was at 327 million. Laredo, Texas, that same year was approximately documented 360,000. Making rough adjustments to coincide to 2020, let's say the U.S. population is 427 and Laredo is at 460,000. COVID-19, the numbers state that the confirmed cases are 2,500 within the USA. Let's tweak that number to 2,800 confirmed cases. The number tells us that within the entire USA, you have an approximate chance of 0.000007 contracting the virus. Locally, your chance of contracting the virus would be 0.008. But even at this rate, I have used the total confirmed cases along with Laredo's total approximate population. Both answers are less than one, less than half, even less than a quarter. I believe that the students have been mentioned all over Laredo. The student that may have been exposed to COVID-19 was not overlooked because the student went to school and the containment protocol was implemented. If that student had not gone to school, who knows how far and fast this communicable disease could have spread. What I'm trying to say, Ms. Rendon, is that Laredo has enough chicken littles panicking about the sky falling and not enough calm leaders like yourself following the properly designed protocol. Thank you for not following the pandemic and staying cool, calm, and collected. If there is anything I can do to help, just let me know. Lizzie Newsom, dear safety and board members, this is so real and the best way to prevent an outbreak is to contain it. We have confirmed cases, and being that some employees and students did travel during spring break, it's best wait 14 days, maybe even 3 weeks after spring break, so anyone who is sick or came into contact with the virus. Hopefully it will be caught in time before opening school doors. Opening the doors to the school is opening the doors to the unknown, and we don't want to know our city is not prepared for it. The president announced today that we must hunker down for at least 15 days. Some students and some healthy adults with no medical issues may be carriers of the virus and may not show any symptoms or very mild ones and not even know they have it and are spreading it right now as I email. This concern is who they spread it to at the schools, employees, students with health conditions, etc., and those now infected, people pass the virus on, etc., etc. Then you have an outbreak in the city. The schools are one of the worst places to try this, since there are not thousands of students and employees. Please, I encourage everyone to do the right thing. 1 week after spring break is not enough. I know it may inconvenience some people that work. I am one of those, but I don't want to be selfish and just think of me having to be on lockdown at my house going crazy. Being a housewife and full-time mom, but instead I think of all the sick people or elderly, or all the people like my uncle, father-in-law, numerous friends who are fighting the war on cancer, etc., that can come into contact with the virus because they have to go to work at a school or get infected by a child who has a virus and didn't even have symptoms. Why wait till it's too late when our school district has all the power to control this? The governor gave superintendents the power to take local control. Please share this message with the proper people. Regardless, my children will not be sent for school for the next 2 to 3 weeks as suggested by our great country's president. Thank you. David Perez. I am respectfully requesting that the district consider extending the closure of the district to at least August 6th. This will allow any employee and students who may have or will be exposed to COVID-19 the recommended 14-day self-isolation period. Allowing students and employees to return any sooner might create a situation that we really do not want. Please give this request consideration. Dr. Michael and Yara Morris, in regards to tomorrow's meeting, we'd like to know for it to be asked and discussed what course of action will be taken for those families coming back from vacation out of town, and more specifically from areas in the country where coronavirus cases have been prevalent. Bea Salinas, if gatherings are not being limited to less than 50 people and adequate tests have not been so readily available locally, and all health organizations suggest staying social isolation for at least 6 to 8 weeks, isn't it pertinent to follow the example of most districts in Texas and postpone classes and hope that we can stop the spread of the virus before it's too late? Especially considering we are a border town. Shouldn't our school district be proactive and get ahead of the game by closing down the schools? Think of the unknown cases we have out there, plus the kids of healthcare workers. There's too many unknowns to risk going back to school under these circumstances. Rihanna Tunin. Good evening. My son is a 6th grader at United Middle School. I also have a stepson in 8th grade at one at Colonel Santos. I feel the most responsible thing the district could do is to cancel classes for at least the next 30 days, if not more, for students and employees. I will do my part by working on any school would like to send online for them. My husband works for an energy company in Ensenada and was sent home today for the next 30 days. We are doing what our country is asking for, to stay home. We ask that our school district allow us reasonable citizens and help curb our numbers and control this virus. We ask you make the right choice and cancel classes. Jose Vasquez. I have 3 children, 2 at United Middle School and 1 at Colonel Santos. I want classes canceled for the next 30 days. My employer, Lewis Energy, has asked that for the next 30 days, we stay home. I ask that you guys do what the country needs, allow for children and employees to stay inside their homes to help curb our numbers. Andelia Olivares. I am a teacher with UISD and a mother of a daughter who attends UMS. I just read the confirmation of the first person in Laredo who had the virus. I sincerely hope that the board considers the health and safety of our children and employees who are immunocompromised. I myself work with a dear friend who just finished 2 rounds of chemotherapy. Is the board ready to risk her life? I truly hope not. I'm hoping that the board follows the suggestion of our president and suspends school for at least the next 15 days. We can reevaluate at that time. Thank you for your time. May God bless us all. Melissa Palacios. I'm concerned for our kids and community. I'm hoping the district extend the spring break due to some families traveling during spring break. I'm afraid not everyone will fill out the traveling form sent home. Santa Salinas, this is so real, and the best way to prevent an outbreak is to contain it. Being that some employees and students did travel during spring break, I know of a few myself, it's best to wait at least 14 days after spring break, so anyone who is sick hopefully will be caught in time before opening school doors. Opening the doors to the school is opening the doors to the unknown, and I don't want to know. The president announced today that we must hunker down for at least 15 days. I think I already read this one. Some students and some healthy adults with no medical issues may be carriers of the virus and not show any symptoms or very mild ones and not even know they have it and are spreading it. The concern is who they spread it to at the school. The schools are one of the worst places to try this when there are thousands of students and employees. Please, I encourage everyone to send a message. I know it may be inconvenience for some people who work. I am one of those, and this is an inconvenience for me, but I don't want to be selfish and just think of me, but instead think of the sick people or elderly or cancer patients, etc., that come into contact with the virus when our school district has the power to control this. Please share. Robin Anderson, it may be beneficial to keep kids out 2 weeks, and that is the incubation period. We should know if anyone has been adversely affected, better on the side of caution. Online classes are possible to keep kids moving forward. Michelle Nigliazio, thank you for asking for public comment. We are dealing with a significant disease that has crippled countries. When, not if, it comes to Laredo, Laredo's already struggling healthcare system will not be able to handle it. School children pass most of the illnesses back to their families. Schools must be canceled. It is the only responsible thing to do. Otherwise, the school system is likely to be the primary vehicle for spreading this highly contagious virus. Colleges all over the world have sent students home, including my son, to be responsible global citizens. We should do no less. Close the school and protect Laredons. We do not have the medical facilities to handle this outbreak if any other decision is made. Karina de la Garza, with regards to the coronavirus, or any kind of virus for that matter, the cafeteria is probably one of the worst places for the children. Children sit elbow to elbow, and there is no way to seat 100+ children any other way in our cafeterias. As cafeteria monitors, we try to deter children from sharing food, but with only 2 of us, it is very difficult to do so. Children share their food very frequently, even though you instruct them not to. As educators, we try to encourage proper ways to sneeze, cough, and hand wash, but many children do not follow the directions. They cough into their hands, they sneeze, and they do not cover their mouths. And when the poor babies have runny noses, they use the palms of their hands to wipe their noses, and they proceed to touch everything, including their food, and then pass on the food to their peers in the cafeteria. Another thing we have is a desk in the cafeteria that has a tray with ice and foil on it. There's a sign on top of it that says, for student use only. We were never given proper training on that. It wasn't until our cafeteria ladies explained to us how it worked. The children are to leave any food they do not intend to use, but we were never explained that it was not for closed food only. Our cafeteria ladies were quick to resolve the issue and dispose of the open containers, but sometimes they were too busy or it was too late, and children were getting the open trays of fruit. With the bagged fruit is the same thing. The bags have been contaminated with the children's germs, and when the other children grab it, their hands have to touch the bag, and then whatever fruit is inside the bag. The food has become infected with whatever virus or germs were there, they are going to get to. As the children interact with one another, they are very close in proximity to each other. They are elbow to elbow and a table's distance in front of each other. virtually a breeding place for all kinds of viruses. This year alone, there are many children out because of the flu itself. As the children wait to be picked up by their teachers after lunch, their little heads are kept down on the tables, side by side, or they are taken out into the hallway and sat down in very close proximity to one another. Rows of children are huddled in one small area waiting for their teacher is also an area for concern, in my opinion. Please keep in mind the time our middle schoolers and our high schoolers switch classes. They are basically squished together to get from one class to the next. These are things that I have never paid much attention to until now. It is very scary. I have an elder parent living with me, and I wouldn't want to have anything happen to her. Thank you for caring so much about the health and safety of our district. These are just my humble opinions. Thank you, Karina de la Garza. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rendon.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, at this time, I will read a statement on behalf of the board to our United ISD parents and employees. We would like to assure the whole district that we continue to monitor all the issues pertaining to the COVID-19, and we have the best interest of our students and staff members in mind as we determine the district's response to this pandemic. To protect from the possible spread of COVID-19, we are looking at all options as far as closing all schools, non-essential. Right, to protect from the possible spread of COVID-19, we are looking at all options as far as closing all schools and non-essential departments for reasons of public health and safety. The district is currently closed for spring break, and any additional closures will be announced immediately after this meeting through the district's webpage, school messenger call to parents and staff. They're in the United ISD official social media sites in communication with media partners. District at this point is finalizing logistical plans for providing instructional resource options for students, and more information and guidance will be made available soon. In addition, our child nutrition department will be announcing procedures for distribution of food to address our children's nutritional needs. We'll continue to update you of any developments, and we'll continue to remain in contact with our City of Laredo Health Department. We thank everybody for the support of our district and our district call center. We want to remind everybody is available from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday at the number 956-473-8000 for any additional questions you might have. Not sure if any other board member would like to add anything. We will discuss right after.
Yeah. Mr. Veliz, we do have agenda item 7F, so perhaps I would suggest to move on to that agenda item 7F, which allows you to discuss with Mr. Santos and Mr. Rendon the district's, response or plan of action for
Right,
this.
okay.
All right.
I was gonna make a motion that we move up actually item 7E, 7F, that we be discussed together, and so we can kind of.
Okay. Do we have a second? Second. All right. We move on to agenda item
E and 7F.
7E and 7F. We're looking at consideration and possible action to approve and adopt resolutions supporting the cancellation of school trips. This strategy to minimize risk to students and staff to public health disease known as COVID-19, and authorizing superintendent to execute documents related to same and any other matters incident thereto.
This one is 7F.
Okay, I've read 7E, okay. All right, so 7F regarding the district's response to COVID-19 pandemic. Are we gonna have a presentation, Mr. Santos, or?
Well, basically, Mr. Ellis, members of the board, staff has been meeting since really last week to be able to look at this, different things that are coming up. I think we have number one, obviously, the most important thing is safety for our students, staff, and our parents. Looking at that, we're also looking at how it is that we can continue to present our students with the opportunity to continue learning, and at the same time, be able to, follow the health concerns that are out there. We will finalize all these meetings probably by the end of this week as far as the instructional area. On the food services area, we're looking at going to several sites and do a grab and go on breakfast and lunch. The other item I think that's important for our employees, I wanted to share with the employees that we will continue to pay you, your full pay, full-time employees, at least for next week, and then we'll look at if we close again, then we'll look at that as we're coming. So I wanted our employees to rest assured that we're here to support. The board is here to support, and so is administration in those areas. So, again, our recommendation there is to look at least closing for next week, and then probably come back maybe next Wednesday to look at what other options we have as this pandemic moves forward.
Okay, so we have a recommendation from Mr. Santos for closure next week, extending spring break for one additional week. Do we have any?
Just clarification, Mr. Santos, you're indicating that our salary employees are going to remain getting paid, correct?
Yes, sir. Recommendation is, of course, all professional employees that are in contract will continue to get paid what their salary is. Our hourly employees and non-exempt employees will get paid 40 hours. That includes, again, our transportation, food services, facilities, shipping, receiving, even our paraprofessionals. Now, we probably will be calling some of these employees to come back and work during the time that we're closed, and those employees we will pay time and a half to learn the regular pay plus whatever hours of work we'll pay a time and a half. So to assure employees again that we're to support them.
As to some of the individuals that receive the free food, free breakfast and lunch, how is the district going to?
Well, on the students, that all our students at this point in time qualify for free reduced lunch. So we're going to be looking at clustering several campuses in different areas of the district. We've directed Mr. Ramirez at Food Service to look at anything that's already pre-packed to be able to look and make it easier to deliver. We probably will have a skeleton crew of custodians at the campuses. Same thing with maintenance. We'll have a couple of maintenance people working again just to make sure the air conditioners are working and the lights and so forth. We'll also have security and police. We'll work out a schedule to make sure that our schools are secure at the time that we're closed.
And these clusters are going to be basically a kind of stop and go, pick up?
Yes, more stop and go. And again, we're so large and expanded. A good example is if we go to Rio Bravo, Cenizo, we probably will provide the food at Salvador Garcia as an example. Let's say in the LBJ area, it could be LBJ High School because everything is fairly close there from veterans, Lamar Bruni and Roosevelt and those schools. And we'll cluster something that's easier for parents to drive by and pick up the food for students. Yes, for breakfast and lunch. We'll probably provide both at one time as they come to pick them up.
A question. Would you be able to have somebody walk it out so they're not all getting out of their vehicle and maybe?
Yes, we'll be right on the curb. It'll be a curb service. We'll have our ladies there right as they drive the car in. All I got to do is we'll give them the bag of food and also the the milk that has to go with the food. Yes, sir. We'll be out on the site.
Mr. Santos, and just to let the public know that as we speak right now, all our schools are getting disinfected.
Yes, as we speak, all our schools, as Mike, we started a week ago disinfecting our schools, and we'll continue to do that. Absolutely.
And sir, my other question would be, okay, on this, people that are going to be hired to kind of work a time and a half or something like that, how is the selective, how are they going to be selected?
Well, selection, we will allow the directors to work with Mr. Zuniga as an example, and work with Mr. Mike Garza and Gloria Rendon to be able to rotate as best as we can. We want to help, again, our employees. As an example, in food services, it has to be food services personnel. Maintenance, the same way. Right now, in transportation, we don't transport any students, but we have assured our transportation department that they will earn and get paid for 40 hours.
40 hours, which is good.
At their regular pay, yes, sir.
Okay.
I guess in light that we moved up, right, for individual consideration, 7E, I believe the district's already addressed that, sort of, that all trips, all school trips, all events have been canceled?
Yes, sir, they have been all school events, UIL, out-of-town trips, everything has been canceled. Yes, sir. And every day, just share the board every day, 3 o'clock, today at 3 o'clock, we'll hear someone from TA give us additional guidelines, and every day it seems to evolve and change. But at this point in time, we'll see what other changes are coming. We don't know if the governor or the, commissioner does anything different as far as the schools.
So it's safe to say, sir, that we're going to extend the spring break, or we're going to close that additional week of
Yes.
spring break, and next Wednesday?
By Wednesday, I think it's the 25th, we should make a decision whether we extend it one more week, depending on circumstances. Yes.
Just
Mr. Curley.
has there been any issues with
Mr. Curley.
regard to insurance?
Go ahead.
No, on the insurance, the question is, has there been any issues with the insurance? No, as a matter of fact, our insurance department of risk management has talked to Blue Cross Blue Shield, and I think they're waiving the deductible on tests with the virus, coronavirus. So again, it's a self-insured, that's one of the things that we want to help our employees.
Do we have a comment, Mr. Ramirez? Do you want to say something?
Yes, sir. I was just going to, Mr. Santos was saying that all schools are being disinfected. Does the administration are going to be disinfecting the main offices where the public comes in? The offices where the public office is open to the public to come in, like human resources, main office, and tax office, and every office for the on the entrance of the public needs to be disinfected also.
Yes, if I understand the question is, I guess Mr. Ramirez's question is, will all our buildings be disinfected? And the answer is yes. We started with the campuses first. Once we're through with that, then we'll be moving to all the other departments, instructional facilities, human resource, administrative office. So the answer to you, Mr. Ramirez, all facilities in UISD will get disinfected.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have a comment.
Go ahead.
I have a comment. Ready?
Yes.
Okay. I understand that on Wednesday we're going to reevaluate to consider possibly extending cancellation of classes for further. My question is, when children return from spring break and staff, in regards to the questionnaires that were sent out, what will the follow-up procedure in regards to people who respond that they did travel outside of the city for spring break?
Yes, the question is, we send a questionnaire out to parents and staff, anybody traveling outside of Laredo, and as we speak, we're looking at all the questionnaires we got back, and we've separated those that are not traveling, the ones that are traveling. Then we will look at the ones that travel in an area where, again, it's a restricted area, that we might have to quarantine those particular employees or students, not allow them to come to work or come to school.
Okay, yes, I appreciate that, because I understand sanitations of facilities is one thing, but once everything's been sanitized, if we have an infected student or a staff member return to work, it defeats the purpose of sanitation at that point.
Right.
So I look
Yes.
forward to meeting again on Wednesday to see where we stand as a nation in regards to fighting this virus.
Yes, ma'am. We'll come back and look at Wednesday, and then I'll make a recommendation to the board what direction we go. Either we, but by Wednesday, I think we'll have more information as to where our nation, our state, and again, our district is going.
Yes, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Mr. Santos, another question, as we see, I think the STAR testing is also going to be canceled. We will not be testing our students with STAR testing, or what becomes of that?
Yes, at this point in time, the state has, canceled the STAR testing. So I think at this point, I don't think we're stating, and we feel the same way. I don't think we're worried about the testing, but it has been canceled.
The other thing is, just for the public would know also that we are concerned for our children. And I think for our children, for our employees, and I guess for our community, I think we're trying to do this in conjunction with everything together. That's why we're trying to work with the other district and with the city as we speak, right?
Absolutely. I think with the support that I've gotten from the board and direction that I've gotten from the board, I mean, we're always looking out for our students and staff and our parents. You know, we've been meeting since last week. We've been, you know, fairly active and just keeping the board informed. And every day it changes. You know, what we knew yesterday, something different is here today, and we'll make adjustments as the day goes by. We'll be meeting, you know, top administration, you know, every day, and at 3 o'clock every day, TA, you know, we'll do a teleconference to find out, you know, any more information. Also, the city health, want to thank Dr. Gonzalez from City of Laredo, and of course Chief Landin. They've been extremely supportive and keeping us informed of any of the things that are happening in our community, and always very supportive. And I want to thank also Robert Eads, City, and of course Judge Donald Tijerin and the Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Santos. At this point, do we have a motion regarding the district's response to?
Mr. President, I'd like to make a comment.
I'm sorry?
I would like to make a comment.
Go ahead, Mr. Molina, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'd like to thank Mr. Santos for sending over updates, keeping us informed. You know, it's something that came up from nowhere. Not very good things are coming out of this or in the future. So I like just to thank the board, Mr. Santos, and the staff for working, trying to get everything back online, whatever we need or whatever we can do, because we can't do regular classrooms. We can do a lot of stuff, so we'll probably have to wait for the state. But most of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Santos and all the staff for taking care of our employees with their getting paid, their safety, looking out for our kids' safety also, and their education and their nutrition stuff, so they can pick up their lunch. So I'd like to thank him, the district, for doing all we can, and I hope we can do more. And whatever, I just thank everybody for working so hard. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Veliz, there's two resolutions that need to be read into the record and then approved by the school board. The first one is on page 186, which is agenda item 7E, and that's the resolution of the board of UISD regarding the cancellation of school-sponsored travels and trips. That one, just to read it into the record real quickly, whereas UISD is a political subdivision of the state of Texas and has the exclusive power and duty to govern and oversee the management of the public schools of the district. And whereas the UISD board is dedicated to protecting the safety and health of its students and personnel. And whereas the Center for Disease Control and Prevention is responding to a public health threat as a result of the outbreak of the new respiratory disease known as COVID-19. Whereas the CDC has stated that of COVID-19 is considered a pandemic. And the CDC has recommended that the schools develop strategies that help stop or slow the spread of infectious diseases, including COVID-19. And whereas per UISD board policy BAA legal and UISD board of trustees has the power to adopt rules to make the effective use of the community resources and to serve the needs of the public school students in the community. Now therefore be it resolved that the UISD supports the cancellation of any student-related out-of-town trips of the sponsor or the campus administrator determines that the cancellation is in the best interest of the health and well-being of the students and personnel.
All right, do we have a motion as presented? Second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
Aye.
all right, okay, now
Aye.
vote. All those in favor, motion passes.
And then
7E, right?
Right.
Okay.
That was 7E. 7F has already been taken care of. And now moving back to agenda item 5A. This is with respect to the compensation of school employees. And the resolution reads as follows. Whereas the UISD closed all campuses and departments on Monday, March 23rd, 2020 due to health-related concerns in connection with COVID-19. Whereas during the school district closure, UISD campuses and departments were sanitized to ensure a safe working and learning environment for staff and students. Whereas UISD employees were asked to stay home during the closing of several campuses and departments. Whereas Section 21.401C of the Texas Education Code represents a legislative determination that a public purpose exists to continue educator salaries during these times of calamity that causes the closing of schools. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees for UISD requests that the Commissioner of Education authorize 5 days of a reduction of the number of days of service of all district contractual personnel pursuant to 21.41C of the Texas Education Code without a reduction in salary. The number of days can be extended by the superintendent as the circumstances may require. Further, be it resolved that all UISD employees were directed not to report to work by the superintendent beginning on Monday, March 23rd, and the district's benefit in directing employees not to come to work was that the district was able to provide a healthy learning and working environment. Thus, the district will not affect the compensation of any employees directed not to come to work beginning on Monday, March 23rd through the end of the school closure period. Therefore, be it resolved that on this 17th day of March 2020, that the Board of Trustees for UISD does hereby approve the resolution as described and stated for the record.
Do we have a motion to approve the resolution as presented? Do we have
So move.
Do we have a motion and a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
And just before we move on to the consent agenda items, just real quick, the governor did issue some guidance yesterday with respect to governmental bodies. And if we do want to have another meeting, number one, under the law, we can have an emergency meeting with 1 hour notice. So, just in case that happens, and it's been happening to a lot of our school district clients. And number two, you can meet over the phone as well, instead of in person, giving, the orders as well. So those are two options that moving on in the future, if we need to do that, then we can call a meeting on an emergency basis, and number two, over the phone as needed.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, so agenda item 6, consent agenda items. Do we have motion?
Make a motion to approve item A through N.
A to M, motion.
Second.
Do we have a second? Any discussion at this point? No? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Agenda item 7, it's for individual considerations. Item 7A, approve donations.
Yes, Mr. Valley, members of the board, it is recommended the Board of Trustees graciously accept the following donations, and they'll be attached to the minutes. The following donations are $1,000 or more. A donation was received in the amount of $1,215 from Jesus Enigma Pompa, going towards the LBJ High School golf team. A donation of the amount of $2,499.84 was received by the Barrett's Parent Booster Club for Veterans Memorial Elementary for the 2nd and 5th grade dance team varsity uniforms. For a grand total this month of $3,714.84 that we graciously accept. I want to thank our parents and boosters to support our campuses.
Thank you, Mr. Santos. Do we have a motion to approve donations?
Second.
All right, motion, a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Bermudez, aye.
All right, motion passes. Item 7B, approve requests, board members and reps to use the Board of Trustees discretionary funds for various projects, campuses. Done at this time?
Yes.
Okay, so they stay the same. What had been submitted, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion, a second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. Item 7C, proposed boundary change for various campuses effective 2020-2021 school year.
Yes, Mr. Valley, members of the board, I know Mr. Mayasa last month presented to the board several boundary changes, and the majority really affect Herrera Middle School and Trauben Middle. And there's also an area of veterans that affect a little bit veterans in Roosevelt. And I know Mr. Garza has been at having several parent meetings. I know Mr. Montemayor has attended several, and that is our recommendation on those boundary changes.
All right, okay.
So moved.
You have a second? Okay. Motion a second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All All right, thank you. Motion passes.
The last agenda item, Mr. Veliz, members of the board, is on the approval of the revisions to DEC local. At this time right now, our DEC local specifically says that an employee shall submit medical certification of the need for leave when they're absent for more than 4 consecutive days, or whether the district requires medical certification due to a pattern of absences and other reasons. We are adding or requesting that the board allow us to add one more, which basically says that the employee shall submit medical certification due to a pandemic which poses a direct threat to the health or safety of the students or the employees. And further, that the district may modify medical certification requirements as needed during a pandemic. This would allow human resources that if there's somebody that's absent and if they are thought of being possibly infected, that the district can, with possibly even one absence, ask for medical certification if needed and as required.
All right, okay. We have motion regarding the.
Second.
Okay. Do we have,
Wait, was it a motion?
there was a motion, a
Second.
second, okay, any discussion on that? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, motion passes. All right, so with that, we move on to agenda item 8, that would be adjournment. Would like to thank everybody that made it out today.
Mr. Belli,
Go ahead.
yes, I have a question for administration. Is the administration have any procedure or anything that is planned for the graduation day?
If I understand the question is, do we have a plan at this point for graduation? Is that the question you were asking, Mr. Ramirez?
Yes.
Yes, at this point, we don't. I think we need to start looking at not only graduation, I think it's a little early, but we will look at graduation, we'll look at different other, I know clubs have banquets and all these other things that come to play. I think at this point, we really have to concentrate on trying to get our instructional and all these things in place. But we'll begin to look at next week at all these other things that are coming in the spring. And once we get a handle, and once we know, what direction the state and we're going as a district, then we were able to respond to the board and to the parents and to our students.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Move to adjourn.
All right, we'll move to adjourn, 12:54. Thank you.